DaeHee Lee's column, Long, How Political Correctness is Destroying Opportunity for an Entire Generation. Hello, this is DaeHee Lee. As a member of the younger generation, I want to speak today about how political correctness, widely known as PC culture, has not only undermined the foundations of Korean society, but has also stripped away opportunities for people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. By examining its origins, conceptual evolution, and structural failures through the lens of global standards and relational philosophy, I intend to explain why PC ideology has become a destructive force rather than a progressive one. Political correctness originated in the mid-20th century within Western universities, emerging out of identity-based political movements and cultural revisionism. Its earliest intentions, to reduce racial and gender discrimination, were in themselves noble. But as PC ideology grew through the 1980s and 1990s, its nature transformed in American and British universities of the 1990s. Movements under the banner of political correctness expanded into broad regimes of linguistic control, speech restriction, and aggressive reinterpretations of history. By the 2010s, PC culture spread globally through social media ecosystems, no longer functioning as a reformist ideal, but instead as an ideological governance system that reconstructs entire societies through conflict, surveillance, and fear. The core logic of PC culture is the doctrine of moral superiority through victimhood. It imposes a rigid framework in which certain groups are predetermined as victims, while others are eternally labeled as oppressors. On this basis, it expands regulatory control over language, behavior, institutions, and interpersonal dynamics. The problem is that this logic does not improve relationships, it fractures them. It does not protect freedom, it suppresses it. It does not promote fairness, it destroys it. PC ideology claims to prioritize the emotions of others over one's own freedom, but in practice it weaponizes emotion as a tool to silence dissent and enforce conformity. As a result, society devolves into a competition of perpetual victimhood, where citizens monitor each other, fear each other, and ultimately distrust each other. From the perspective of relational philosophy, PC culture is fundamentally destructive. Healthy relationships are built on reciprocity, mutual respect, and shared responsibility. But PC ideology reframes relationships as adversarial power struggles, dividing citizens into emotionally charged subgroups, and teaching them to perceive one another as potential threats instead of fostering connection. PC systems cultivate separation. Instead of a society functioning as a coherent ecosystem, it becomes a fragmented collection of conflicts. In such an environment, young people lose the freedom to speak, to make mistakes, and to grow. Innovation halts, creativity fades, and communities decay. This, in essence, is the society that PC ideology produces. Many advanced nations have already recognized the structural risks of PC ideology. In the 2000s, the United Kingdom intensified PC-based education policies, only to see academic competitiveness sharply decline. It has since reintroduced explicit speech protection guidelines into University Governance Canada and Sweden. After finding that PC regulations weaken productivity and organizational innovation, have enacted PC Regulation Reduction Acts. Over the past 5 years, major American tech companies, including Google, Meta, and Tesla, have scaled back internal PC regimes, arguing that they inhibit innovation and damage meritocratic culture. Singapore has deliberately excluded PC ideology from state governance, choosing instead a performance-driven model that maintains long-term economic strength. In Korea, the greatest victims of PC ideology are the younger generations. In the job market, a minor verbal misstep is more dangerous than a lack of skill. In universities, genuine debate has disappeared. In workplaces, creative ideas are buried beneath emotional sensitivities. Even startup founders hesitate to innovate, fearing PC-driven backlash. This means that at the very age when young people should speak more, act more, try more, and fail more, they instead fall silent. They become cautious, they become smaller. This is not merely a generational problem, it is a structural collapse of national competitiveness. The solutions are clear. First, Korea must restore a merit-based system of equal opportunity. Recruitment, evaluation, and policy execution should be grounded in data and performance, not emotion. Second, freedom of expression, debate culture, and critical thinking must be revived, especially within universities, which should dismantle PC-based censorship systems. Third, the education, public, and corporate sectors should be redesigned using FEA principles to clarify roles, responsibilities, and outcomes within a relational governance structure. Fourth, Korea must push PC ideology out of the center of national governance and re-establish a world-class framework of fairness and competitive excellence grounded in global best practices. PC ideology pretends to defend the weak, but in reality it renders entire societies weaker. It silences everyone. It drives communities into cycles of fear and conflict. If the young generations of Korea are to stand tall, competing boldly, failing freely, and challenging the future with confidence, then Korea must break free from the constraints of PC ideology and rebuild a nation based on fairness, competence, and growth. Thank you for listening.